I exposed our marriage on our anniversary. My husband became furious and took brutal revenge. Where did you get that? She asked, surprised. Seriously? I show you proof of your infidelity, and that's what you ask me, where I got it. Does it even matter? Will it change the fact that you cheated on me? I asked my wife of many years. It looks bad, I admit we kissed, but it's not infidelity, we were in public, she replied. So that's your defense? No explanation about who he is or why you were kissing him. You think that just because you're not having sex in the photo, it's okay? Is that your idea of honoring our vows? I snapped. I can see you're upset. We were just caught off guard. Making a big deal of this won't help, she said firmly. You haven't even given me his name. Why should I get upset over someone I don't even know? I asked sarcastically. His name doesn't matter. You might do something stupid like start a fight, and he could hurt you. I won't let that happen, she objected. Thanks for your honesty. You've made your choice. Now I'll make mine, I responded heatedly that I turned and ran upstairs to pack. What are you doing? She asked, confused. Packing a suitcase, I replied coldly. But why? She questioned desperately. I can't take your lies and deceit anymore. I need to leave before I do something I regret, I growled. Don't be silly, Ryan, he wouldn't hurt you, she tried to reason with me. Until today, I thought you'd never betray me. I guess we don't really know each other after all. Betray you? Who said I cheated on you? Kissing him wasn't cheating, she argued. There you go, lying again. But I never cheated on you, Ryan, not with him, not with anyone. She shouted, her voice rising. Then how do you explain this? I said, pulling out another photo from the same night, a very clear picture of her entertaining that man. But where, how? She stammered. Does it matter? Will knowing change the fact that you cheated and lied? I demanded. She dropped the photos and began sobbing, trying to hug me. Stay away, Tracy. I gave you a chance to be honest, but you didn't think the truth was worth it. I might have stayed and talked it out, for our son, if you had just been honest. But you demand too much. I picked up my phone. Only call me in an emergency about Bobby. Otherwise, I'll block you. Okay, she nodded and left. Furious and heartbroken, I checked into a motel Friday night. I decided to take the weekend to figure out my next steps. If I divorced her, Bobby would live in a broken home, and I'd have to pay alimony and child support. I wished she had explained or apologized. That's when I decided it was better for us to separate and think about our next move. The absence of my wife and son weighed heavily on me. The loneliness was unbearable. I cried until I passed out. By noon the next day, the messages started coming in. I had a degree in engineering and was working in a local chemical lab. After 5 years, I was offered a production manager position at a research and development center far away, with a significant salary increase. We moved, leaving friends and family behind. Tracy got a job at a major credit card company's call center with over 100 employees around her age. A year later, Bobby was born. I convinced her to become a stay-at-home mom since I was earning enough. She loved her work friends, who quickly became our social circle. We often gathered with her coworkers and their spouses. Even though I didn't object, our social life revolved around her colleagues. I felt out of place among the charming men, but they treated me well. The messages were from our friends, people Tracy had told about our problems in detail. They urged me to talk and resolve things. I was shocked she kept it from me, yet shared it with them. I didn't like that others knew intimate details of my life. Tracy didn't call or text, she knew I would block her. Cassidy, Tracy's best friend, seemed to orchestrate everything. She wanted me to meet with the group at her house Sunday at 6 p.m. Suspecting a setup, I suggested we meet at a restaurant instead, where I could leave freely. They reluctantly agreed that I had several reasons to accept, to understand why Tracy did what she did, to see whose side our friends were on, and to find out if anyone was involved in her actions. As an account manager, I'm used to confrontation and staying calm. I wanted answers to make an informed decision. I parked near the restaurant and walked in, noticing the group had arrived early, probably to plan. That amused me. Only one seat remained, next to Tracy. She stood to greet me, but I stopped her. If you don't mind, I prefer to sit at the far end of the table. If I can't sit somewhere else, I'll leave. Cassidy replied quickly before Tracy could speak. Of course. Brian, Jared, please give Brian a seat at the end of the table. Your meal is paid for, Brian. Let's all place our orders now. We were seated in a private dining area to avoid prying eyes. Everyone ordered quickly. Before Cassidy or anyone else could speak, I handed out copies of the photo of Tracy kissing the mystery man. You all seem very invested in Tracy and I fixing our issues. I was surprised she shared our personal matters before we had a chance to talk about them ourselves. That shows her ongoing disregard for me and our marriage. Cassidy tried to speak, but I cut her off. Before we start any discussion, take a good look at this photo. Do you see that man? Tracy refuses to give me his name. I'm sure at least one of you knows who he is. If you want to help, I need information. If no one here can be honest and provide the facts, then we have nothing more to talk about. The room went silent. Even Cassidy hesitated to speak. No one claimed not to know the man or offered his name. I had my answer, thank you for your time. I hope someone here has enough appetite to eat. I've lost mine. No one here seems genuinely interested in helping us repair our relationship. I apologize. I stood up and left. Tracy shouted, begging me to come back, but no one else did. It was clear now, our friends were her friends, not mine. Tracy, Cassidy, and the group were stunned. They had planned a reasonable discussion, but I surprised them by demanding the truth. They weren't prepared to deal with that. I didn't mention this at the restaurant, but after leaving the motel, I stopped by a fast food place to grab something to eat. When I arrived home, I spoke with the nanny Tracy had previously hired and thanked her. I ate quickly and moved my clothes and personal items into the guest bedroom. Over the weekend, I had purchased matching locks for the guest room and hallway doors to avoid any physical encounters with Tracy. Once I settled in, I played with our 3-year-old son, bathed him, and put him to bed. Tracy arrived home around 10 p.m. She looked happy to see me and found me in Bobby's room, watching him sleep, tears running down my face. I silenced her with a wave of my hand. There's no need to disturb his innocent sleep. After closing the door, she tried to hug me, but I stopped her. I'm glad you're back. Let me make you something to eat. We need to talk, she said. I already ate, but thanks. So, where have you been? With your lover again? Don't start. I wasn't with him. I went to Stack House. They helped me find the right words to start this conversation. There's a lot I want to explain, she said. I'll talk if you give me your lover's name. If not, we have nothing to discuss. I can't. I just can't, she replied sadly. I wish you showed half as much devotion to your husband as you do to your lover. I'll stay in the guest bedroom until further notice. Don't touch me, who knows what you might be bringing home now. But I won't let this come between me and my son. If you're ready to talk, your first words will be his name. If you're willing to sacrifice our marriage to protect him, then so be it. Don't speak to me until you're ready to tell me who he is. She walked away, sobbing that a week passed. Tracy and I only spoke when it came to Bobby, never to each other. On Monday night, I came home, and everything seemed normal, until I entered the kitchen. A group of Tracy's friends surrounded me, eager to see me again. They avoided saying anything that might upset me, but it was obvious they were walking on eggshells. The first thing I asked was, "Where's Bobby?" I don't want adult conversations happening near my son. I left him with the nanny. He'll be staying there tonight, Tracy explained. I see, I said, surprised. There had clearly been prior planning that I wasn't aware of. I didn't see their cars parked outside. We all parked a block away to surprise you, Cassidy said. We couldn't risk you seeing the cars and driving away. Well, you caught me off guard. Why is everyone here? Has something changed that I should know about? I asked. Yes, honey, Tracy began. Let's go to the living room, and I'll explain everything. I'm ready to answer your questions. Sure. But I need to use the bathroom first. I'll be right there. I went to the bathroom, turned on the recording app on my phone, and slipped it into my shirt pocket. Then I joined them in the living room and noticed two new faces. I immediately recognized Tracy's lover, sitting beside a younger woman. Tracy began, Ryan, this is Elliot Franklin and his wife, Gail. They've been our friends for a long time. I know this may shock you, but you insisted on knowing who he was. We all agreed this was the best way to tell you. If you try to attack him, the others will intervene. No one wants anyone to get hurt. So, you're finally showing me his face. Bit late to worry about me getting hurt, isn't it? I said sarcastically. You didn't care about hurting me, only about protecting him. Don't worry. I won't touch him. I don't want any disease he may have passed on to you. Everyone groaned in disappointment. Cassidy stepped in, Ryan, we understand your frustration. Can we talk calmly? We were just trying to give you what you asked for. You wanted a name, and now you have it. We figured you'd also want to talk to him, and we arranged that too. Elliot doesn't need anyone to speak for him, he can speak for himself. We're just introducing you. Elliot stood up and extended his hand, we've gotten off to a bad start. I hope we can be friends, or at least civil. I'll treat you with respect and courtesy, and I hope you'll do the same. May I call you Ryan? I kept my hands at my sides. First, as we barely know each other, Mr. Franklin, you should call me Mr. Wilson. I don't think our relationship justifies familiarity. Second, you're promising respect after showing blatant disrespect. I won't ignore your insolence, but I will treat you courteously in return. Agreed, Mr. Wilson. My suggestion was only for today's conversation, not past incidents. I'd like to discuss what happened between me and the woman you married. Please don't call her my wife. That title may not last much longer. I'm considering divorce, which I'm sure you already know. Then how should I refer to her, Mr. Wilson? Refer to her however you wish. I just hope you find my perspective acceptable. I'm listening, Mr. Franklin. Go ahead. Elliot took a deep breath and began, look around this room, Mr. Wilson. You see a room full of attractive people, including the woman you married, and yourself. Do you think it's a coincidence that your closest friends are more attractive than average? This group came together like birds of a feather. As the friendships grew, so did the closeness. Everyone here is in a happy and stable relationship. Our foundation is trust in our soulmates, which makes us inseparable. We all believe the same about you and the woman you married. He continued, take my wife Gail, for example. She means the world to me, just like any of the women here mean to their partners. We plan to spend our lives together. No man here, including you, could ever take her from me. That kind of trust allows us to share with others for our mutual growth. Monogamy is outdated. True love involves trust, closeness, understanding, and sharing. That's lovely for you and your wife, Mr. Franklin, and the rest of this group, if everyone is in agreement. But that has nothing to do with me and the woman I married. Forgive me, Mr. Wilson, but don't you see the benefits of trust, understanding, and security in a relationship? Both of you could grow by embracing this. We believe it would help. He gestured around to include the others. That if what you say is true, Mr. Franklin, then you've just called every woman here, including the one I married, a whore. I'm horrified she could change her principles so easily. A gentleman never interferes in a marriage the way you have. I see the flaw in your logic, Mr. Franklin. This isn't one-sided. You and your wife are invited to embrace our beliefs. You could be with any woman here, if you wanted. When you joined our group, it was inevitable you'd eventually be invited to fully participate. If you hadn't reacted so strongly, she would have discussed the potential benefits with you. Instead, she panicked and pulled back. I'm confident you'll see the advantages of what we're suggesting. We just need to find a way to make you feel comfortable. I see, I said, pretending to consider his words. Then I turned to Tracy and looked her in the eye. Is this true? You discussed this with them and agreed to test the waters with Mr. Franklin without telling me first. Tracy nodded nervously that I heard how these experiences improved and strengthened other marriages, and I wanted the same for us. My love for you hasn't changed. I only wanted to show you what I'd learned, to convince you it could be good for us. She smiled, realizing this was our first real conversation since that night. So, you want me to believe that one session with him turned you into an expert courtesan? That wasn't your first time, was it? She lowered her gaze, unable to look me in the eyes. Franklin interjected, don't you see, Mr. Wilson? We helped her understand the benefits. You can participate too. There are other advantages. So, you think you're some kind of Casanova? I asked. Mr. Wilson, I'm experimental and attentive. I help less experienced lovers, like the woman you married, grow and learn. And you'll benefit from her new experience. Everyone goes through periods of complacency. I turned to Tracy again. When have I ever refused to try something new? If you wanted to spice things up, why didn't you just talk to me? Why did you jump into bed with him? Please don't misunderstand me, sweetheart. You're a gentle and sweet lover, which I need most of the time. But sometimes, I want something more forceful and direct, and that's what Elliot showed me. He never tried to replace you in my heart. I kept my anger under control, realizing our relationship couldn't be repaired from within. I felt a storm raging inside, but outwardly, I remained calm. I now had one goal, gathering ammunition to destroy their lives for tearing mine apart. Thank you, Brian. Now you see our group in a better light. You and Tracy will join us, and your marriage will grow stronger. I guarantee it. I forced a smile that I need more time to process everything. Tracy and I need to speak privately. Once we've resolved things, we'll get back to you. All right, he said with a weak smile, clearly needing a response immediately but not getting one. Sure, he added reluctantly. Take all the time you need. He nodded, and suddenly, 3 large men grabbed me and held me in place. I wasn't going anywhere. Though surprised, I didn't feel threatened. Tracy approached, reached into my pocket, and took my phone. She began deleting videos. Brian, we want to trust you, but until you're one of us, we have to protect ourselves. It was obvious you were recording tonight's events on your phone. We can't allow that. Tracy nodded to Elliot, who asked, is everything erased? Tracy answered, yes. There's no recording of tonight. She put away my phone, showing she was fully committed to their group. I gave a defeated look, exactly what Elliot wanted. Don't look so down, Ryan. I'd like to think you were recording so you could choose who to be with first in our group, Elliot said. But we just can't take that risk. He patted me on the back, and the group quietly left. I grabbed my keys and headed toward the garage. Where are you going? Tracy asked. To pick up Bobby, if that's all right, I replied. I was hoping we could, reconnect tonight. Do you really need to go get him now? I miss my son. I'll be back soon, I said and left. I drove to Ang's tech house, hungry since I hadn't eaten dinner. The restaurant didn't disappoint. I savored the tender meat while mentally reviewing the night's events, hoping my plan would work. Mrs. Stevenson thanked me for the generous tip. I might need her help again soon. Bobby was thrilled to see me and laughed all the way home. I bathed and fed him before putting him to bed. Tracy told me she was cooking something light, but I said I had already eaten and that she should take care of herself. Offended, she ignored me, not wanting to disturb Bobby, and since we both had work in the morning, I got ready for bed. Tracy wanted to talk. What's going on, Ryan? You seemed interested in Elliot's offer, and then suddenly you shut me out. What happened? She asked. I'm glad you asked. Let me respond with a few questions. Your answers might bring some clarity, I said. Go ahead, she replied. Just before they left, 3 men held me in my own house. You didn't say a word. Is that true? That's not how it was, she objected. Was it not? 3 men held me. Yes or no, Tracy? Did it happen? Yes, she said, but I interrupted. So it did happen. Was there anyone else there who witnessed it and also stayed silent? Yes or no? Tracy didn't answer. Reluctantly, she said, yes. We're beginning to understand each other. Next question, did I ask you to take my phone and delete anything from it? Yes or no? Be honest. No, she whispered. Alright, be patient with me, this one's a bit longer, so listen carefully so I don't have to repeat it. Do you admit that you had no objection to me being restrained in my own home? Do you also admit that you took my phone and deleted recordings, not at my request, but someone else's? Is that true, Tracy? Yes or no? My frustration was clear. Yes, she replied. Good. Almost done. Since I was in the room and didn't hear anyone ask you to delete anything from my phone, you must have agreed to do it without my knowledge. Is that correct? Tracy lowered her eyes. Yes, that's correct. I didn't think of it that way. You make it sound like a betrayal, she said, her voice trembling. It is a betrayal, Tracy. And now you know why I left you hanging. Your own answers reveal why. Tonight, you proved you're on their side, not mine. Now, I'm going to sleep, alone. I don't want to be near someone who can betray me so indifferently. She began sobbing as I left her in the hallway and locked the door behind me. Around 4 a.m., I heard her trying to open it, but the lock kept her out. On Tuesday morning, I spoke with the vice president. Dean, can you recommend a good divorce attorney, someone who fights hard for husbands? I asked. Please tell me you're not asking this for yourself, Ryan, he said, looking at me with concern. Unfortunately, I am. I figured you might know someone, I replied, trying to stay composed. I'm friends with Chad Ross from our legal firm. He can recommend someone. Let me call him and get back to you, he offered. Thanks, Dean, I said, feeling a bit of relief. And don't worry, Ryan. This stays between us, he assured me. You don't know how good it feels to hear that. Thank you, Dean, I said sincerely. On Chad's recommendation, I called the office of behaviour and scheduled an appointment for 2:30 that afternoon. I ended up meeting Pietra Storm. She told me her client base was about 70% women and 30% men, but she fought hard for her clients regardless of circumstance. I convinced her of my position, and she agreed to take the case. She warned me that I would likely have to pay child support until Bobby turned 18, including college expenses. I told her I was okay with that, I wanted to provide for my son, and that I was hoping for 50-50 custody. As for alimony, she said I'd probably have to pay it for 3 to 5 years, depending on the judge. In our state, the typical rule is 1 year of support for every 2 years of marriage, up to a maximum of 20 years, after which it's capped at 10 years. Even though I'd have to deal with it, the idea of paying her so she could enjoy life with fools enraged me. Tracy and I had been renting the house we lived in for the past 4 years while planning to build our dream home. I had drawn up many sketches for our future haven. Now, those dreams were gone. At least the house wouldn't be sold, divided, or fought over. Bobby, being so young, wasn't attached to any specific home. If Tracy continued renting the house, I didn't care. I knew I could never sleep in the master bedroom again, knowing it had been used by that man. Who knows how many times they were together before I discovered her betrayal. Pietra explained that the average divorce in our state takes 8 months if uncontested and up to a year if contested. I was hoping for the 8-month route. Staying married to a cheating wife had no appeal now that I had made my decision. She also mentioned that there was no financial benefit to filing a claim of infidelity, but it could help in custody disputes. She said the paperwork could be ready by Thursday afternoon, and I asked her to have Tracy served at her workplace Friday at 10 a.m., so her friends and co-workers could witness it. After finalizing the divorce strategy and agreeing on a fee, I asked about living arrangements until the divorce was finalized. "What questions do you have, Ryan?" Pietra asked. "My main concern is time with my son. 8 months to a year is a long time, for both of us. I don't want to be a part-time father. Would it be illegal or inappropriate to continue living in the same house just to maximize my time with him?" I asked. "While it's not uncommon, it can be challenging," B replied. "How so?" I asked, curious. "When she's served on Friday, she'll be extremely upset. If she's nearby, she may retaliate. Are you prepared for her anger?" B explained. "Absolutely. I can handle it, especially knowing we'll be legally separated," I said confidently. "She might not want the divorce. Unfaithful wives often want both their husband and their affair. She might try to stop it, be warned. But it's a legal process, right? She can't stop it just because she wants to," I said, trying to fully understand the situation. "Technically, yes. But she could complicate things," B pointed out. "How?" I asked, now concerned. "If the two of you become intimate again before the divorce is finalized, the timeline resets to 0. You'd be looking at another 8-month wait. The court would interpret it as your desire to reconcile and terminate the divorce," B explained. "That won't be an issue for me. But I can see Tracy trying to seduce me just to disrupt the process. I have a will of iron, B. I won't give in," I said firmly. "You don't have to," B insisted. "But Tracy could claim that you had an affair, and unless you can prove otherwise, which is nearly impossible, the timeline resets. The judge might find it hard to believe you weren't intimate while still living together. I've seen it before, Ryan, and I strongly advise against giving her any ammunition. If she makes such a claim, she'll need to provide specifics, time, location, and if you can refute those, great. But it would still be your word against hers, and the judge may side with her, especially if she gets emotional and convincing. Leave it to me." "Thanks, B, you've been a great help," I said, feeling somewhat reassured that we then discussed another legal issue I would soon be facing. Tracy usually got home about half an hour before I did, so I wasn't surprised to find her cooking when I arrived. I avoided the kitchen and went upstairs to shower. Using the hallway bathroom gave her fewer chances to corner me. I brought a change of clothes with me, practicing what it was like to live separately under the same roof. When I came out of the bathroom, she was waiting in the hallway. "Dinner will be ready soon. Bobby's in his high chair. You smell nice," she said. "I'll be down in a minute." "Thanks," I replied, opening the door to my guest room. The tension was thick, but she didn't say anything sarcastic. As we ate, she finally spoke that I'd like to explain about the phone last night. "Go ahead," I said calmly. "Elliot knew you were recording. He said it wasn't fair to expose everyone to that risk. No one could leave until the threat was neutralized. He suggested I delete the recordings myself, in your presence." "I see. And why did they trust you to do that to your own husband?" I asked. "Because I gave them my word, Brian." "I don't understand," she said, sounding confused. "What don't you understand? Didn't you give me your word on our wedding day to be faithful?" There was a long silence after my words, and I was glad for it. "Sweetheart, I don't want you to think I'm on their side." "That's not true," Tracy insisted. "It's not. If those men had grabbed you in our home, do you think I'd have stood silently by? I challenged. What choice did I have, Ryan? They could have easily overpowered you, she reasoned. That's true, but it wouldn't have stopped me. I would have fought for you because I'd be on your side, not theirs. Last night, you acted like one of them, I pointed out. I'm sorry. You don't understand, Ryan. I explained about the phone. I don't know what else to say, she said, looking at me in frustration. There isn't anything else to say, is there? I said with a bitter chuckle. You're right. How did you find those photos, Ryan? I'd like to know. I'm sure you would. Maybe one of your friends isn't as loyal to your little cause as you think. What if a coworker sent them to me, how would that make you feel? I teased. Who? Please tell me who. Man or woman? She asked urgently. I can't tell you, Tracy. Why not? She asked, exasperated. I gave them my word, I the phone a smile, she realized she wasn't getting any tactics. Did you enjoy looking at them? Oh Max, trying a different calling. I've missed you. Where are you? She asked. I'm here in Charlotte, Max replied. Max, when did you get back? The knot in her stomach twisted. Last night, Camila. I came back last night, Max answered. The knot tightened even more. Camila leaned back, struggling to breathe, let alone speak. Max, I think I should hang up, she whispered. No, Camila, please, Max pleaded. Can we meet somewhere? I need to see you. Just for a few minutes. Max hesitated. This woman was his love, the mother of his daughters. Shouldn't we take risks to strengthen our marriage? What's the harm in that? She asked, her voice filled with frustration. The harm is the destruction of the trust we once had. Your experiments are tearing our marriage apart. Maybe your friends don't value fidelity, but I do. I don't trust you anymore, Tracy. You've shown me that you're capable of doing whatever you want behind my back. If it was so important to you, why didn't you talk to me before sleeping with another man? I replied, my voice rising. I knew you'd react like this. I thought that if I participated and saw the benefits, I could bring back what I learned. Once you saw the improvements, you'd understand the value, she explained, trying to justify her actions. So you and Elliot see yourselves as enlightened? Thinking people like me need to be spoon-fed your superior wisdom? How elitist of you. I didn't realize how lucky I was, I said, sarcasm dripping from every word. She noticed. Let me show you what I've learned. I adopted techniques from Elliot and studied Gail closely last night. The goal is to improve our love life, not destroy it. Just let me show you, you won't regret it, she said, trying to persuade me. Every time I look at you now, I shudder. I have no interest in kissing you. Everything you're offering now is what used to be mine, now shared freely with other men, I replied, my anger barely restrained. It was never just yours, Brian. You don't own me. You never have, and you never will, she said defiantly. You're right. I never claimed to own you. I thought you were mine because you said you gave yourself to me. But now you've taken that back and given it to another man. That's broken something inside me, Tracy, and I don't know if it can be fixed, I said, my voice full of sorrow and finality. She began sobbing again. That was the last real conversation we had until Friday. I spent all my free time with Bobby. I changed his diaper and never asked for help. It became almost a game, who would bathe him more. Bobby enjoyed the attention, and so did I. Over the next few days, I researched Elliot and G. Franklin. I found almost nothing. The only public record of an Elliot Franklin was a homeless man arrested for panhandling downtown. The photo and age didn't match the man who had entertained Tracy. I'll keep digging. I arranged for Tracy to be served at 10 a.m. on Friday, during a meeting of the local chapter of facility managers. These meetings last 2 to 4 hours, including lunch, and are typically sponsored by contractors advertising their services. If Tracy called, my secretary would confirm I was in a long meeting and would only respond to emergencies. I wasn't avoiding her, I simply wanted to give her time to process the shock before speaking. When I returned to work, I saw her many messages and called her back. She answered quickly, clearly upset. "It's about time. Are you serious? Getting served in front of my friends? Do you know how embarrassed I was? Are you really divorcing me over this? I told you it was nothing, Ryan. When will you understand? Why haven't you returned my calls? Why won't you talk to me? My secretary should have told you I was in a management meeting. I called you back as soon as I could. I have a job to do. And when exactly have I refused to speak with you? I'm speaking to you now. Let's continue this conversation after work when we have more time," I said firmly. She began to cry that I don't want a divorce. "Please, Ryan, don't do this. We'll talk tonight, okay?" "Okay, Tracy. I love you. Tonight, then." "Goodbye, Tracy," I said, ending the call. I had one more short meeting about a lab issue and then called our contractor to handle it. I arrived home early, knowing Friday evenings tend to be quiet. Realizing she might not want to cook, I picked up Chick-fil-A for dinner and sent her a message. She arrived shortly after I did. I took Bobby from her car and brought him inside. She hugged me while I held him. I put him in his high chair and helped feed him. Babies can be messy eaters, and Bobby was at the stage where he liked to throw food. She thanked me for the takeout. We chatted and laughed a bit with Bobby, even as she quietly cried. I spent the entire evening with him, never leaving his side until he fell asleep. He was my focus, my reason for enduring this situation. Later that night, I found Tracy in the living room, staring at the divorce papers. She took a breath to calm herself before speaking. "I'm sorry, Ryan. Okay. Is that what you wanted to hear?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Honestly, that's the first apology I've heard since this started." "What exactly are you sorry for, Tracy?" I asked, my tone firm. "I'm sorry you saw those pictures and found out that way. I can only imagine how uncomfortable that was for you," she said, trying to sound sincere. "So, you're sorry that I found out, not that you cheated." "Got it," I replied, feeling the anger rise. "Don't say that. Elliot said that once you saw the benefits of our group, you'd come around. You'd have the freedom to be with other women, just like I could be with other men," she explained, desperately trying to justify her actions. "Of course he said that. You and Elliot both failed to consult me about your little adventure. It's a shame you trust his words more than mine. He doesn't know me, or our marriage. And apparently, neither do you. Look, I realize now that I was wrong. You're right, I should have talked to you first. Elliot told me that if I had approached you, things would have gone well. He's convinced you'll give in, but now I'm not so sure. Why don't you cancel the divorce and let's go back to normal?" she pleaded. "Normal? That train already derailed. You ruined it the moment you cheated. Just sign the papers and let's move on with our lives," I said, feeling resolute. "You don't want Bobby growing up in a single-parent home, calling another man dad. No man wants that for his son. Reconciliation is the best option," she argued. "I wouldn't want him calling another woman mom if you got remarried after the divorce," I countered. "That's true. You should have thought about all of this before breaking your vows," I replied coldly. "It would hurt to hear him call someone else dad, but it's still better than living in a house full of lies and betrayal. I will not be part of your infidelity group. They may be attractive, but they disgust me. I will never be intimate with you again, Tracy. Get that through your head and accept it," I said, my words filled with finality. "You're just saying that to hurt me." "And it does hurt, Ryan," she said, her voice cracking. But what if I give it all up? What if I swear never to get involved again and turn my back on them as friends? I'm desperate. You and Bobby are the best things in my life. I'm sorry you think I turned my back on you, but I didn't. I value you both more than anything, she cried, tears streaming down her face. I hear your words, Tracy. But I don't believe them. You've already proven yourself a liar. I can't trust you anymore. Just sign the papers and let this end, I said firmly. I'll never sign those papers. I don't want a divorce, and I'll fight you every step of the way, no matter how long it takes. I may have lost you for now, Ryan, but I want you back. I'll crawl to you on my knees if that's what it takes, she swore, her determination obvious. What a shame you didn't have enough faith in us to stay faithful to your vows. Once a cheater, always a cheater, that's how I'll always see you, I said with bitter sarcasm. She began sobbing, realizing the hard road ahead. So now what? She asked. I hope you're not expecting me to leave. I'm staying here with Bobby. We have nowhere else to go, she murmured. You're right. Bobby is my whole world now. I don't want to be away from him either. That's why I'm staying here throughout the divorce. I won't get in your way. I don't need you to wash my clothes, cook, or clean. You take care of your needs, I'll take care of mine, and we'll both take care of Bobby. Just don't touch me. You disgust me now. We'll coexist until the divorce is finalized. But there will be no reconciliation, I declared firmly, her hope turned into disappointment. I hear you, Ryan. But divorce is a long process, and a lot can happen. I will win you back, sweetheart. I swear it, she said. As long as you're still spending time with your friends, you won't have a chance. I don't want you socializing with them ever again. And if you ever bring one of your lovers into this house, you and he will both regret it. That's clear, I warned. Of course, sweetheart. I'll turn my back on them if that's what it takes. Do you want me to quit my job and be a full-time mom? She asked, trying to find some way to make amends. It's too late for that. Besides, if you did, I'd only be paying more in child support after the divorce, I replied bluntly. She didn't like my answer but kept a cheerful smile. I decided to treat this as a temporary business arrangement. Nothing would stop me from spending time with my son. For the next few weeks, we communicated politely, saying only what was necessary. Surprisingly, we agreed to several of my lawyer's suggestions. I would pay the rent if Tracy handled the utilities. I cancelled all utilities in our joint name and had them reissued in hers. Both our cars were fully paid off, so each of us paid for our own gas and insurance. We prepared our own meals, so there was no need to share groceries. Financial independence was easier than I expected since I was still covering most expenses. She accepted it that I transferred half our savings into a new account in my name and left the rest in hers. She was unpleasant for a few days, but eventually realized I was simply enforcing the terms of the divorce. She still refused to sign. Tracy did everything she could to start conversations with me. I was always polite but never engaged unless it was practical. I never asked her for anything or started discussions. One day, while looking for socks in my desk drawer, I noticed the 3 photos of Tracy and her lover were gone. I searched every drawer in a panic but couldn't find them. I knew who had taken them. Inspecting my bedroom door lock, I noticed thin scratches, suggesting she had a locksmith make a copy of the key. The next day, I bought 2 new identical locks for the bedroom and bathroom doors and kept the keys hidden. She didn't want me to know she had access. And I didn't want her to know she no longer did. Her continued betrayal confirmed I had made the right decision. I began to wonder if she had lied about ending things with him. After a few months of distance, she started asking me to take her out or do couple activities. I always declined politely. She was growing anxious, missing her friends but remembering her promise to cut ties with them. Then I started receiving texts and calls from them, inviting me out or offering to stay away if I came. I blocked every number without replying. By mid-December, she told me she was going out to dinner with her friend Cassidy on Saturdays. She said she didn't mind if I stayed home with Bobby. I agreed, as long as she didn't bring anyone home. Meanwhile, I joined my company's bowling league. Those Saturday nights were enjoyable, and the attention Bobby received from the ladies was far better than sitting at home wondering about Tracy. One day, I came home later than Tracy. She asked where I had been with Bobby. That I told her the truth. She asked if she could join us next time, and I honestly told her that I only went out when she did. That annoyed her, but pleasing Tracy was no longer my concern. She often asked how we could be a loving couple again, but I never gave her a chance. She never signed the divorce papers, which were supposed to take a year. 6 months later, my attorney, B, informed me that Tracy's lawyer had successfully petitioned for 10 mandatory marriage counseling sessions, 2 per week. I was required to attend and respond to every question the counselor asked. I asked B if I could answer every question with the same short phrase. She told me that as long as it was relevant to our marriage, that would be acceptable. I thanked her and hung up. Tracy's lawyer assured the court that the counselor favored the wife and vilified the husband. I didn't care what the therapist thought, as long as I stayed within the law. To every question or statement from Tracy or the therapist, I answered, I don't want to stay married to a woman who betrayed me. Soon, both of them were frustrated and angry. Despite the verbal attacks from both women, I remained calm and polite. After the 5th session, the therapist cancelled the remaining appointments, calling them unproductive. The following months passed without change. I spent every free minute with Bobby, strengthening our bond. 4 days before the divorce hearing, Tracy moved out with Bobby and had me served with a restraining order. B called me with the bad news. B, you know me better than that. Not a word of it is true, I said, trying to keep my composure. Okay. I needed to hear it from you. I'll fight for you, but it will be tough without evidence. Has she provided all the details necessary for us to investigate her claims? B asked, her tone serious. Yes. I have the information in a folder at my office, I replied. Send it to me by email. And remember, you can't contact her or your son until I tell you otherwise. If she calls, hang up immediately, she instructed. Understood, I repeated. 2 days later, I returned home from work and was stunned to see Tracy sitting at the kitchen table. Bobby wasn't there, so she must have come with someone else. My first instinct was to leave and avoid violating the restraining order, but she shouted, Ryan, turn around and listen. If you ever want to see Bobby again. She had my attention. I looked at her, keeping my distance. You don't have to say anything. Just listen, she said. I stayed calm and didn't confront her. First, give me your phone so I can turn it off, she demanded. I placed it on the table. She took it and powered it off to ensure there'd be no recording. I tried to talk to you, but you were stubborn. I had to resort to desperate measures. Now you know how it feels to be on the other side, she said. I claimed we had slept together to reset the clock, but Elliot convinced me to have a backup plan in case your lawyer objected. So I invented a story about you hitting me. We both know you never laid a hand on me, but I needed full custody of Bobby to limit your time with him. It's cruel, but it gave me the upper hand. If you cancel the divorce and agree to join our friend group, I'll lift the restraining order, move back in, and we can rebuild our marriage. Bobby wouldn't grow up in a broken home, which you hate. I promise you'll get used to it. What do you say, Brian? Live in the real world with me. You'll enjoy it. She struck where it hurt most, my son. Nothing in the world meant more to me than him. I'll respond when I can. For now, please leave, I said firmly. She smiled as she walked past me, knowing she held the advantage. I waited until I heard the door close. Looking out the window, I saw a shiny Lexus pull up, driven by Elliot Franklin. That he must really want her in their group. I had a lot to think about. Duppy informed me that my presence at the divorce hearing wasn't mandatory, but I wanted to be there. As I left the men's room and headed to the courtroom, Tracy appeared and hissed, "You had your chance, bastard. I'll destroy you in there. Your son will never know your name. He'll call another man Dad. I'll marry a real man, someone who trusts and believes in me." She spat in my face and stormed off. People nearby stared, wondering what I had done. I wiped my face with a handkerchief and entered the courtroom, taking a seat in the back. I hoped my attorney, B, was as good as her reputation. While I waited, I listened to other divorce cases and noticed that people representing themselves were always at a disadvantage. Our case wasn't heard until 1 p.m. It was a long day. Tracy testified first, listing supposed incidents of assault with dates, times, and locations. She requested custody, child support, alimony, and possibly even jail time for me. Despite her teary testimony, my attorney B remained calm, doodling flowers in the margins of her notes. Tracy's lawyer painted me as an abusive and unfit father, claiming she had tried to reconcile and that my jealousy had destroyed our marriage. After the lawyer finished, B began her cross-examination. "I just want to confirm, you're sure of the dates, times, and places of the alleged incidents? Could you be mistaken, Mrs. Wilson?" B asked. "No, ma'am. My lawyer told me to document everything, and I wrote it all down on a calendar," Tracy answered confidently. "So you swear under oath that your accusations are precise and truthful?" B pressed. "Yes, ma'am." "The truth must be told," Tracy said tearfully. "No further questions, Your Honor," B said. "You may step down, Mrs. Wilson." "Thank you," the judge added. Tracy and her lawyer looked stunned that B hadn't questioned her more aggressively. Tracy's smug smile said it all. She believed she had won. She was ready to turn my son against me, and the thought of that made me tremble. "Your Honor, I'd like to call Mr. James MCM, B began. "McMillan," the judge noted. "Yes, Mr. James Winford McMillan to the stand," B requested. The judge nodded, and a modest-looking man took the seat. Tracy and her attorney exchanged confused glances. "Please state your full name for the record," B asked. "James Winford McMillan," he replied. "Thank you, Mr. McMillan. May I call you James?" B asked. "Jim, please," he responded. "Thank you, Jim. Can you tell the court where you work and the nature of your business?" B asked. "I own and operate McMillan Dunn Security Services," he explained. "And how did you come to know my client, Mr. Wilson?" B continued. "He approached me about 14 months ago, concerned about his wife, Mrs. Tracy Wilson. He suspected infidelity but had no proof. We offer private investigation services to confirm such suspicions, and he used our services," Jim replied. "What did you discover during your surveillance of Mrs. Wilson?" B asked. "We gathered evidence of her infidelity and provided Mr. Wilson with 3 photographs of her in bed with another man," Jim stated. "Were those the only existing copies of her encounter?" B asked. "No, ma'am. We store all photos and videos on a secure cloud server and maintain the originals. Mr. Wilson only received copies," Jim clarified. "And do you have other copies of these images?" B asked. "Yes. Here they are. These are copies of the original, unaltered files," Jim confirmed. "Thank you, Jim. Your Honor, we would like to admit these 3 photographs as evidence," B requested. The judge accepted the photos, reviewed them, and handed them to the bailiff for processing. "Thank you, Your Honor," B said. "Jim, was that the end of your involvement with Mr. Wilson?" "No, ma'am. He was concerned that the affair might still be ongoing and asked for guidance. I recommended installing hidden surveillance cameras and microphones throughout the house to monitor and record phone calls, secret meetings, and graphic content," Jim explained. "And Mr. Wilson hired your firm to do this?" B asked. "Yes, ma'am. We installed the equipment the very next day while Mr. and Mrs. Wilson were at work," Jim confirmed. "Objection, Your Honor. Tracy's lawyer protested. I move that all evidence obtained through hidden surveillance be ruled inadmissible. Mr. Wilson could have easily altered those recordings to defame my client. Judge Feldman looked at B. Before I rule on the objection, Counselor, do you have a response? Yes, Your Honor, B replied. Jim, can you explain the nature and configuration of the surveillance system installed in Mr. Wilson's house? All cameras transmit data wirelessly to a laptop hidden beneath the house, which is connected to a wired Ethernet hub, Jim explained. The data is transmitted to our secure cloud servers. Mr. Wilson does not have access to the raw footage. The laptop only stores the web address where the data is uploaded. The only way to access those files is by contacting our firm. We ensure the chain of custody is continuously monitored. Mr. Wilson's only involvement was the monthly replacement of the camera batteries. Judge Feldman smiled at Jim and nodded. I've seen you in my courtroom before, Mr. McMillan. Your firm has an excellent reputation. The objection is overruled. Thank you, Your Honor, B responded. She turned back to Jim. Jim, you heard the testimony of Mrs. Tracy Wilson accusing my client of assault. Here are the dates and times of the alleged incidents. Do you believe her accusations have any merit? No, ma'am. None whatsoever, Jim answered confidently. What makes you so sure? B asked. When we reviewed the footage from those dates, there were no incidents of violence. Mr. Wilson was happily playing with his son, and Tracy Wilson was alone in another room. The house was quiet during the times of the alleged assaults. Tracy and her lawyer avoided eye contact, staring at the floor. Jim, can you provide additional information regarding her claims? B prompted. Yes. I have a transcript of a phone call Tracy made the day before she moved out, Jim said. She talked about how much she hated seeing her husband treated this way and mentioned someone else hitting her so she could blame him. She planned to use that to gain an advantage against him. Objection, Your Honor, hearsay. Tracy's lawyer interjected. I can provide the original recordings. The transcript is an accurate reflection of her words, Jim offered. Tracy's lawyer did not raise further objection. Thank you, Jim. No more questions, Your Honor, B said and sat down. Judge Feldman turned to Tracy's attorney. Would you like to cross-examine this witness? Defeated, Tracy's attorney responded, no questions, Your Honor. Thank you, Mr. McMillan. You may step down, Judge Feldman said. Thank you, Jim replied, then exited the courtroom. After Jim took his seat, the judge continued, it's clear that an innocent man is being falsely accused in an attempt to influence the court to gain full custody. Mrs. Wilson has committed perjury, a third-degree felony punishable by up to 36 months in prison. This transcript will be forwarded to the district attorney for potential prosecution. I grant full custody of Bobby Wilson to his father, Ryan Wilson. Tracy Wilson will have visitation rights at Mr. Wilson's discretion. Mr. Wilson, please be generous with visitation, your son needs his mother. I nodded in agreement. As for spousal support, I award Tracy Wilson $11,000 per month for 42 months. Each party will retain their respective vehicles. Checking and savings accounts will be split evenly based on balances at the time of the divorce filing. Each party will retain their retirement accounts. Given that Mr. Wilson has primary custody, the court will not award child support. Mr. Wilson, do you wish to remain in your current residence or relocate? Judge Feldman asked that I stood. Your Honor, I don't want to live there any longer than necessary. Tracy may continue renting the house, I'm moving out. Very well. The lease will remain under Mrs. Wilson's responsibility, Judge Feldman confirmed. Tracy staggered as she stood up. You have 8 hours to return the child to Mr. Wilson. Failure to comply will be considered contempt of court. Understood? Yes, Your Honor, she sobbed. All restraining orders are hereby lifted. I grant the petition for divorce in Wilson v. Wilson. Both parties will receive final divorce decrees within 30 days. Tracy cried as she realized she had lost her family. She turned to comply with the judge's order. "Ryan, I'll bring Bobby to your new place tonight after dinner. I'd like to be with him a few hours longer," she said, turning to me. "That won't be necessary, Tracy. I've already found a new apartment and will be moving in as soon as I leave here," I said, handing her a slip of paper. "Here's the address. Bring Bobby tomorrow at noon. I'll be settled in by then." She looked down, saddened. "I'm sorry. This isn't the outcome I wanted." "Well, now you can have the exciting love life you were chasing, without me." "Good luck with your next open marriage," I said sarcastically. She didn't respond. "Ryan, thank you," she finally said. "For what?" I asked, surprised. "For not going after Elliot and Franklin. They're good people." "Too bad you'll never know them like I do," she said. "No problem. I have zero interest in Elliot or Franklin. But I am interested in your company. I discovered they have a strict no fraternization policy. Tomorrow, I'll be filing a lawsuit against your company, stating that violations of that policy destroyed my marriage and nearly cost me my son. Ronald Hansley will be named as the primary offender. Apparently, he's slept with a dozen female employees. He's your manager, right?" Tracy looked stunned. "Turns out Ronald has a wife, Lydia, and 2 kids. I'm not sure if she knows about his affairs, but I'll make sure she finds out. Including his relationship with Rita Consuela, or as you know her, Gail." "But why? His wife and kids don't deserve this," she pleaded. "Neither did Bobby," I answered coldly. "Why?" "Because he destroyed my marriage. Why shouldn't I destroy his? He nearly took my son from me. Why shouldn't his kids know the truth? And even now, you're still defending him. If you stick around Tracy, maybe you'll get your dream man. He might be divorced within a year. Downside is, he might also be unemployed, just like your friends at the call center. Their silence about Ronald's behavior also violates company policy. What happens if we all get fired? How will I support myself now?" she objected. "Oh, don't worry. Your job is safe," I replied. "I promised your company I wouldn't go public, as long as they kept you on staff. You could start your own little group of followers. Just imagine how great your life will be without me holding you back. Once you explain how infidelity strengthened our marriage, the ladies will be lining up to join. You might have trouble hiring another manager, but maybe one of their husbands will step up. Imagine all the exciting possibilities," I added. "But why are you protecting my job while threatening everyone else's?" she asked. "Because Bobby needs a mother in his life. It's not a dream job, and it doesn't pay much, but it's enough for you to survive without relying on me. When Bobby asks how I treated you during the divorce, I want to say I was fair. If you say otherwise, I'll show him the evidence." Tracy and her friends never knew that I had discovered the true identity of her lover from the beginning. My private investigator had done an outstanding job. An engineer always approaches a problem with knowledge. If we don't have the answer, we find someone who does. My attorney sued Tracy's call center for $1.5 million and settled for a significant amount. She kept $250,000, and I received the rest. I wrote Tracy a check for $42,000, paying off all child support obligations in full, with more than enough left to begin building the house of my dreams. Word spread quickly at work. Many single women suddenly saw me as a desirable match, but after this emotional roller coaster, I'm going to focus on Bobby for a while before I even think about dating again, finally free.